Party to end a decade. Sydney ready for 2010. The best spots are gone as the city counts down to a world-beating spectacular. After the fires, the people going home to find nothing is left. All a Twitter. What links the Prime Minister and a porn star? And Lara Bingle's missing car. First on 9, her fiancé tells us the inside story.
This is 9 News with Peter Overton.
Good evening. It's the night when Sydney parties and the world watches how it's done. In 6 hours' time, we'll be cheering in 2010 and still wondering exactly what happened to 2009. The boast is we have the largest and most advanced fireworks show on the planet, and 1.5 million people can't be wrong. Well, the weather, it's not the best, but that's not stopping the crowds piling into vantage points right around Sydney Harbour. Tonight, we're covering it all, with Leila McKinnon in prime position at the Opera House, Amelia Adams at King Street Wharf, plus we're live with Premier Kristina Keneally and the man with the tough job running the show for the police. But first, Jessica Rich reports on the people who weren't leaving their night to chance.
For the diehards, the last day of 2009 wasn't exactly the most picturesque. This was Blues Point early this morning. A sea of brollies, garbage bags and people doing whatever they could to pass the time. It's the downside to the best show in town, waiting for it to start.
We got here about 11:30, 12 last night.
At Mrs Macquarie's chair, it was mainly tourists who counted down the hours.
The weather's not looking so great, though.
No, it's like home. We were expecting sunshine.
Many of them sleeping overnight with the promise of claiming some of the best seats on the harbour.
We've heard a lot of good things about it, so fingers crossed.
When the gates finally opened,
3, 2, 1,
the race for the best posse was well and truly on. Mrs Mac's headland was very quick to fill.
Yeah, first. We are first. Both of us.
Well, not quite. The crown for first in the queue actually went to Sydney sider Bradley Shaw, who'd lined up from 7 o'clock last night.
Thank you.
He had a big load. But in the end, it was worth it.
It's very competitive. Very good to be here.
This New Year's Eve is expected to rake in $156 million for Sydney.
This destination is the most sought after New Year's Eve destination around the world, and that's something we're incredibly proud of.
And the show is sought after too. This was a sneak preview of it last night. It's something the biggest stars from around the world come to see. Matt Damon is one of them. He's on board this expensive ocean liner. Thankfully, the harbour is still free.
Yeah, anywhere in Sydney Harbour's the best seat on the house today.
rough at the top. It is rough at the top.
And today, boats came in all shapes and sizes.
Once it gets dark, 1.5 million of us in and around the harbour will be ready to celebrate. The theme this year is Awaken the Spirit, and organisers want us all to wear a shade of blue to resemble the stunning harbour. It's more of a shade of grey today, but that's a small price to pay for a night that promises to be a winner.
Kirribilli is an old favourite.
Happy New Year!
Families setting up camp on the best site in the world.
So you better get this party started.
And as with most foreshore locations, there is a strict booze ban.
No alcohol free. No alcohol.
We've only got lemonade.
Yeah, we're not going to cause any trouble, we're just celebrating the new year, innit?
No such problems for those people celebrating at home. The bottle shops were packed with people stocking up. As for the fish markets, they were enjoying their second busiest day of the year.
Bigger than Good Friday, it's a fabulous day.
But wherever you are to watch tonight's show, you can be guaranteed a night to remember. Jessica Rich, 9 News.
Well, one person with a view to die for is a current affairs Leila McKinnon. Leila, what's happening at the Opera House tonight?
Oh, there's plenty happening, Pete. It's very exciting. Of course, we've seen there are so many wonderful places to see the show tonight, but this has got to be one of the best. And of course, it is where the Lord Mayor holds her party. It's a $5 million party. The centrepiece of that is the fireworks, $650,000 worth of sky spectacular. Every year they manage to outdo the last year, and it is going to be absolutely astonishing, not only for the tens of thousands of people around the harbour and for the millions of people watching on Channel 9 tonight in Australia, but for 700 million plus people around the world. I mean, Sydney is justifiably proud of the show we put on. It outshines every other international city. We're not only one of the first to put on a New Year's Eve show, but it is the best and the brightest. And Pete, I can exclusively reveal to you that the symbol on the bridge will be revealed when the fireworks start. I still haven't found out what it is.
Good on you, Layla. Thank you. Enjoy the
Thanks.
show. Let's go to the other side of the city now, and Amelia Adams is at King Street Wharf. Amelia, the weather's not great, but the crowd's still loving it.
Absolutely, Peter. It is a great atmosphere down here. The showers have cleared. We're even seeing some blue sky. And the bars and restaurants are filling up fast. Now, I've spoken to a few people who are just beginning their celebrations, and it sounds like there's going to be some serious partying going on here this evening at some of Sydney's most popular night spots. But while it might be a great night out, New Year's Eve can also be very expensive.
There's getting home. Join the crowds on public transport, fight for a cab or a hire car at up to $360 for a trip across the city. Or just stay the night. City hotel rooms are between double and triple the usual price, a mere $8,000 for a top suite. And for those with kids, it's $50 an hour for babysitting. That's more than double the usual rate.
Then, of course, there's the food, drinks, entry fees at various venues. So with all of that, Peter, you can understand why some people choose to stay at home and watch all the action on TV.
Good on you, Amelia. Thank you. Let's go across the harbour now, and Premier Kristina Keneally joins us. Premier, good evening. How will you spend tonight?
Oh, good evening, Peter. Well, Sydney does such a great fireworks show, the best on earth, and like so many families who are here at Kirribilli, I'll be down at the harbour tonight with my two boys and my husband.
Now, you haven't stopped since becoming Premier. Droughts, floods, a whole lot of pressure and a young family. How on earth do you juggle it all?
Well, Peter, my husband describes it as a bit like having your first child. It's exciting, it's a little daunting, and you get a lot less sleep.
Good on you. Take off your Premier's hat for me just for a moment. What are your resolutions for you and your family this year, considering you have the top job in the state?
Well, for me, I'm going to keep riding my bike to work almost every day. And for my family, well, we're mad keen Rabbitohs supporters. So we're going to go to every home game, including that grand final when South Sydney claims the premiership.
Good on you. Happy New Year to you, Premier, and thank you.
Happy New Year, Peter.
Over to police headquarters now, and the man in charge of the New Year's Eve operation, Assistant Commissioner Frank Minnelli. Assistant Commissioner, good evening. This year the alcohol restrictions are tougher than ever. Will they work?
Good evening, Peter. Look, it's not about alcohol restrictions. It's about people drinking responsibly and acting appropriately. If they drink in the wrong areas, we will take the most appropriate action.
OK, and a final word from you to New Year's Eve partygoers.
We'd like people to have a good time and get home safely.
Well, we hope all your officers have a safe night as well, and thank you for looking after the city.
Thanks very much, Peter.
And of course, A Current Affair will be live from Sydney Harbour at 6:30, and live and exclusive coverage of the New Year's Eve fireworks from 8:40 p.m. and 11:40 p.m. right here on 9.
Good evening. There was patchy rain across Sydney today, but it wasn't enough to keep thousands of revellers from setting up camp on the harbour foreshore early this morning. The city got to a top of 24 degrees while Parramatta reached 26. To the chart, and a trough over Queensland and New South Wales continued to bring welcome rain to our farmers today, while a front over Western Australia is promising a showery change for firefighters. Taking a look at tomorrow's temperatures and the chance of a shower in Brisbane and Sydney, possible thunderstorms in Canberra and Melbourne, partly cloudy in Hobart and sunny in Perth. In Sydney, a few showers and the chance of an afternoon thunderstorm, 27 degrees in the city, while our west temperatures will reach 31 degrees. And looking ahead, showers on Saturday and 27, mostly clear skies on Sunday and Monday, and then rain for the rest of the week. A similar story in our west, mostly fine on Sunday and Monday, and then showers up to the weekend. So, Pete, let's hope that rain holds out for the rest of the evening.
Lindsay, let's hope so. Thank you. Now let's go back to Amelia Adams, who's at King Street Wharf. Amelia, it looks like it's getting busy now.
Peter, it certainly is. The excitement is building. building. As you can see, plenty of partygoers here, all dressed up and ready for a great night. Lots of people are heading out on boats and cruises to see the full spectacle of New Year's Eve from the harbour, while others are cracking that first bottle of champagne at one of the many waterfront bars here. Now, if you are still looking for somewhere to spend New Year's Eve, there's plenty of room here at Darling Harbour, or of course you can stay home and watch the full coverage on 9. But either way, it seems the scene is set for a great night. Peter, Happy New Year.
Thank you, Amelia. Let's just confirm those times. 8:40 for the fireworks coverage and 11:40 leading up to midnight. That is 9 News for this New Year's Eve. I'm Peter Overton. I hope you have a good evening. Happy New Year from us all here at 9 News. Good night.
Hello and Happy New Year. I'm Leila McKinnon. Welcome to A Current Affair. Tonight, a special program from the Sydney Opera House. It is the centrepiece of tonight's fireworks spectacular. But more on the year's biggest party in just a moment. First, though, New Year's Eve is always a time of reflection, as well as being a time when we look toward the future. With that in mind, who better to predict what's in store for all of us than Australia's top psychics?
You want to try that one again?
Yeah,
no worries.
What on earth is it that's got the renowned psychic Simon in such a dripping sweat?
Okay, I'll just be a sec.
Is it the heat being channeled from more blazing bushfires?
Hold on, we'll just wait.
Is it all the pressure from strong vibes about interest rates?
Oh, God. It's all right.
When I ask about assassinations, he starts to steam up.
Your glasses are fogging up.
I know.
Yeah.
And on the health of the Queen, he stops dead in his tracks.
Sorry.
Can there be so much awful energy about the year 2010?
Okay, I'm sorry, because that was such a good question.
You're right.
In my mind last night I was seeing fire, but it was like an explosion. But it wasn't really an explosion. It's got to be something to do with some sort of either atomic or some sort of that kind of, you understand what I mean? That kind of explosion.
Anne is good. The clairvoyant who saw good value in making her first name her surname is writing for Women's Day each week. That's assuming we're all around next year.
I just felt that I could see this mushroom cloud in my mind of a fire, but it wasn't a normal fire. It was something by chemicals.
Into the crystal I gaze and stare. All the past and the future is there.
Gypsy Jackie looks like she's in search of a circus.
You don't walk down the street like
this?
No. This is just for us?
No, I don't, yes. Another year has gone away. Let's look forward to another day.
We're front seat in the caravan, but that doesn't mean we're being taken for a ride. Our psychics are in fact aligned on all my key questions.
Will Tony Abbott lead the Liberals to the next election?
No, I don't think he will. I think he'll have a lot of trouble. I did pick up that actually in a dream a while ago. He'll have a lot of trouble beset with gossip and scandal, a lot of people trying to bring him down. And whether he can survive that or not is up to him.
We are and always will be the United States of America.
Barack Obama, will he be safe?
He will be a large part of the year, except for towards the end of the year or middle of the year. He may have someone attempt to shoot him, and he'll get through that. It'll be almost like a flesh wound on an arm, but he'll get through that really quickly and effectively.
What'll happen with the weather this year?
Okay, my feeling is that it's still going to continue to be erratic, and people can expect that, summer is going to look like winter and winter like summer.
Except at Simon's, where summer's still summer and he's still sweating.
Here we go again with
OK, we need to open a window here, but you'd have to be psychic just to find one. As you can see, Simon is very well read, especially when it comes to his cards.
Queen Elizabeth's likely to have some serious problems which will require her to step down, not necessarily kick the bucket in order to make this changeover occur. Charles may take over the reins for a short period.
Interest rates are going to go up, and I keep seeing 2, and I would have to go with possibly 2%. It's definitely not just 2 rises, because they are going to go up in quick succession from about March onwards.
Anne gets all animated when I ask about the economy. When I turn to petrol, she's even more pumped up.
I feel that petrol prices next year, they're still going to go up. They're still going to be escalating before they level out. I don't know why I'm getting $1.35, but I'm getting in my mind $1.35, $1.35.
My friends say that I should leave you behind.
Jessica Malboy. Jessica Malboy had a dream about her having a lot of problems coming into the year, but she would get over that by June, July, but she'll have a bit of a battle with boyfriends and trouble with just the spotlight, being in the spotlight, and sex, drugs and rock and roll, that sort of thing. Just be careful not to go on the wrong track.
There's a huge health shock around Elton John. In fact, a lot of rumours could emerge as a result of that because of the possibility of people thinking that he's got AIDS. But in fact, it will be something else altogether entirely, and that will then be revealed.
I dreamed a dream in time gone by.
I don't like ever getting dark clouds around a person, and yet I constantly see them around this lady. It's like she's living her dream, but she's got some health issues. She may just actually retire.
In other crystal ball gazing, Jackie says Jessica Watson will sail safely into history as the youngest girl to circumnavigate the globe. Anne predicts our next MasterChef will be a king of the kitchen, not a queen. While Simon says the Cats will claw their way to a second AFL win. No sweat.
It's heavy work, this prediction business, isn't it?
It surely is.
Yeah, it looks pretty tough. I'm predicting a big fireworks spectacular in just a few hours. I'm sure I've got that one right. Still to come in a current affair, the unusual aerobics workout that promises to fight wrinkles without Botox. The Aussie larrikin who's living the dream, paid to hang out with his mates and drink beer. And now we are going to talk about the New Year's Eve Spectacular. It is a multi-million-dollar show, an event seen by close to 1 billion people around the world. And joining me now is the creative director for the New Year's Spectacular, Rhoda Roberts, and Jason Coleman, who is the performance director. Happy New Year and good evening to the both of you.
Happy New Year.
Now, no pressure, but 700 million plus people are going to be watching the show tonight. You look incredibly calm. Are you nervous?
Absolutely not. We have such a great creative team behind this show. It is going to be extraordinary. The weather is with us, so I think, Jason, it's going to be a wonderful night.
Yeah, the hard work's done. We've been working on this for more than a year. So now we just sit back and enjoy the night like everybody else and watch it all happen.
So, Awaken the Spirit, how will we see that theme this year portrayed?
Well, Awaken the Spirit, it's something that Rhoda came up with when they were working on a theme for the night, and I think it's such a great thing for New Year's Eve. It's so inclusive of everybody, and it also shows the world. I mean, this is a national event, which is, a fantastic thing to work on, but it's also an international event, of course, because of where we sit on the timeline, and the whole world, watches our harbour bridge go up, and I think Awaken the Spirit really has the essence and the feel of the evening.
Well, there's no doubt we put on the best fireworks show in the world every year. How do you make it bigger and better every year, Rhoda, and will it be bigger and better tonight?
Absolutely bigger and better. I think Foti Fireworks International, the company we work with, constantly test and challenge themselves. We've asked them to go with blue this year, and so they've developed all this new microchip technology in the fireworks, and it's going to be pretty stunning. I think making the point of difference and actually having something like Awaken the Spirit, where we want Sydney-siders to join together, wear a touch of blue, come down to the harbour, that's what it's about.
And also every year there's a big surprise when the bridge comes up with the symbol of the year. It's okay for you to exclusively reveal what that symbol is right now on our show.
Darling, only for you. There's 3 images, and that's it. We have to wait to 12 midnight to see that symbol that we think represents the spirit of Sydney and indeed Australia.
Well, Happy New Year to you both. Break a leg. Looking forward to the show.
Fantastic, so are we. Happy New Year.
Thank you. And it is hard to think of a single piece of technology from the North